call Julian Ginter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with great pleasure I rise to speak on this bill, the Financial Assistance for Live Organ Donors Bill. I have to start by congratulating Chris Bishop, my colleague, and his colleagues who went before him in introducing this bill to the members' ballot. I think it is a fantastic contribution to the legislation of Aotearoa through the members' bill process. And it's so rare that we get these great contributions from government members in the members' ballot. So it's great to have a bill come through that is supported by all parties in the House, that is a good use of time, and that will make a real difference to New Zealanders out there, both who are awaiting an organ and those who might be considering donating. I wasn't the member for the Green Party on the Select Committee while this bill was heard by the Health Select Committee. I just took up the health portfolio in the last few weeks. But my colleague Kevin Haig did follow this process, and I know he was extremely supportive of the bill from the first reading and during the Select Committee process. And so I checked with him before giving my speech tonight to ask what went on in the Select Committee. Well, just for as long as we have bills coming up that I wasn't on the Select Committee for. I think it's fair enough that I checked with my colleague who did sit through the submissions. I did go back and look at the notes and the submissions. And my colleague Kevin Haig, who's extremely experienced in the health sector, having been the CEO of a district health board and the head of the AIDS Foundation before that, many years in the health sector, had nothing but positive things to say about the entire Select Committee process. And that doesn't surprise me, because in the short time that I've been a member of the Health Select Committee, I have found all of the members to be extremely constructive and very collegial. It's a very collegial environment, and a fantastic experience in Parliament to be on a Select Committee where everybody is so collegial and open-minded and looking to get the best possible outcome for New Zealanders. I do think that the people of New Zealand would like to see more of that behaviour from all of us in Parliament, and I wish that they could see what happened in the case of this bill, because there were a whole number of changes that were recommended by the Select Committee that improved the bill, what was already quite a good bill. Many of the members in the debate tonight have already gone through the detail of the bill and some of the changes made. I'll just go through a couple of the ones that stood out for me. So obviously, the bill is looking to reduce the financial barriers to organ donation, which is a very laudable goal. I have heard members comment in the debate tonight that New Zealand has a very low rate of organ donation. My understanding isn't so much that we have a low rate of organ donation, but more that particularly from deceased organ donors, but that there's simply a very long list that far outstrips the number of donors that occur. And we wouldn't want there to be an increase in the number of deceased organ donors, because we're looking, as Barbara said earlier, Barbara mentioned that we're trying to reduce the road toll. I wasn't sure how to pronounce her surname. So. Kruger? Kruger? It was Kruger. Okay, got it. Barbara Kruger. We are looking to reduce the road toll, and so as a consequence of that, we will need an increase potentially in live donors. There were 53 deceased organ donors in 2015, which was the largest number ever in New Zealand, and a 15% increase on the previous year. A 47% increase from the 36 donors in 2013. So that's a good trend. The 53 deceased organ donors donated organs, heart, lungs, liver, kidney, and pancreas, to 158 transplant recipients in 2015. So that was, again, a 14% increase from the 138 recipients in 2014. And last year, there was also 78 live donors who donated a kidney or a part of a liver to 78 recipients. So while there are fewer deceased organ donors than live organ donors, the deceased organ donors obviously make a greater contribution to those needing live organs because live organ donors can't donate as many organs. But so overall, the trend has been good, but there's much more that needs to be done, and this bill is a step in the right direction. Well, it's a step in the right direction. Obviously, some of the other members mentioned things that were being investigated, such as opt-out policies for deceased organ donors. But with respect to live organ donors, reducing the financial barrier is a big step to making it possible for more people to take that option of being a live organ donor. And one of the changes that was recommended by the Select Committee, which was interesting, was supporting the principle of cost neutrality for donors. So rather than just looking to provide financial assistance, they will be reimbursed at 100% of their income. And that's very much in line with the type of support. In fact, it exceeds the support that one might receive from ACC if one is recovering from an injury. And I think this is an important step and certainly reflects a principle that the Green Party holds dear when it comes to the role of government, that it is a fundamental role of government to protect and empower people and to ensure that people's health is provided for. That is the role of government, and this bill is reflecting that principle, that there is a role for our government to support people to do things that are in the public interest, that help their friends, their family, other people who are living in this country to recover from illnesses that they're suffering from and to be able to make a greater contribution to Aotearoa. And I think that this principle could be applied much more widely in other areas, that government can and should be doing more to support people and the best possible health outcomes that we could have here in Aotearoa. One way that government could be supporting better health outcomes would be to focus on the opportunities provided by prevention. As my colleague Kevin Haig mentioned in the first reading speech on this bill, there will be a growing need for live organ donors, particularly for kidney tissue, because of the alarming increase in the rate of diabetes and pre-diabetes here in New Zealand. Type 2 diabetes is a preventable chronic disease, and it's something that we should be looking to prevent as well as to treat. And there are many opportunities for prevention. Barbara Kruger and Louisa Wall mentioned the Fitbit Challenge in November, raising awareness about diabetes and the opportunities to get more incidental exercise, to have a more healthy diet. But fundamentally, this isn't something that can be left to individuals. Because it's not just an individual problem. It's a social and environmental problem, and it's greatly influenced by decisions that government makes. For example, in the area of transport, since the Minister of Transport is here in the chamber, I thought I might take this opportunity to mention that there's a huge opportunity in transport to achieve public health benefits like reducing diabetes. Before I entered Parliament, I worked as a transportation consultant, and I was a lead author on a research report for the New Zealand Transport Agency called Valuing the Health Benefits of Walking and Cycling. And what this research report did was look at all the different research, public health research on the costs and benefits of people getting more activity, and eventually it came up and recommended a number which was adopted by the New Zealand Transport Agency in the Economic Evaluation Manual, so that it was easier for local authorities and central government authorities to predict what the overall economic benefits would be of investment in projects that facilitate people walking and cycling for short trips. I'm very proud of that research, the fact that it's being widely used today, and I think that it's an example of just how important it is for government to think outside of the health portfolio when we're thinking of how we're going to deliver optimal health to the people of New Zealand. And that's another win-win approach that I would hope could be picked up by this government and implemented, such as this great bill, which we are very happy to support this evening.